Robert has this list of how Bitcoin is the unity of opposites. And one of the things that he says is Bitcoin is a public utility that provides private property rights.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It's like, you know, I find in conversations when I'm talking with people who don't really understand Bitcoin or concerned that, I don't know, somebody's going to come in, central bankers are going to come in, they're going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin and they're going to have some sort of influence on it. It's like, well, nobody owns roads. Somebody might own that road, but nobody owns roads. Nobody owns the internet. Nobody owns Bitcoin. You can own some of the Bitcoin network, but the network is this publicly owned utility that's providing freedom and property rights. Anybody and everybody who interfaces with it.
Yep. It is absolutely unprecedented.
It is. Yeah. And this is hyperbolic, but I think about it, you know, a lot. I think this is one of, if not the biggest deal in human history.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
And I think there's an interesting angle around how fast Bitcoin could happen.
Yeah.
So there's a chart that circulates on Twitter every now and then. It kind of makes the rounds every few months. And it's a visualization of different communications technologies, systems that have strong network effects. And it shows over the last few hundred years how quickly those technologies were adopted. And so you'll see things on it like the telegraph in the 1800s, and then the radio came later, and then 40s and 50s was like broadcast TV. And each curve gets a little steeper. Like it took a long time for the telegraph to kind of go mainstream. But then each subsequent innovation happens faster. And part of that is because you have the previous innovations. They exist. Like you had the telegraph to talk about the radio, and you had the radio to talk about the TV. And now we're at this point where we have instant communication on, you know, Twitter or X, and we're all hyper connected to the internet through our smartphones. And so these lines of like tech with strong network effects increasing, and like now we're at the point where it's almost just going to be a straight wall up. But I think that could be the way that it happens with Bitcoin, because not only does it have the benefit of all of the communications tech, like we're talking about it in the internet, and the idea can spread so quickly among us, but also because it has a ticker price. It's got a 24/7, 365 market price that we can all look at anytime.
That doesn't wait for anybody.
Yeah.
There's not a single person or group of peoples or powerful interest or king or whatever banking bloodline that can press pause or slow that down. Bitcoin, the main chain, doesn't care.
Exactly. And so the internet, happened pretty quickly, but if there would have been some way for Blockbuster Video to realize how quickly Netflix was eating their lunch before it became obvious, like that feedback loop where they had to see the signals of that happening, it was kind of elongated. And in Bitcoin, because of its 24/7, 365 nature, the fact that it's got a price in fiat that everyone can look at, the fact that now nobody can really stop anybody globally from sharing ideas and talking about stuff, at least broadly, it could happen so much faster than we expect.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And so we're also still so early in this, but it's happening so fast, and it seems like it's just speeding up. When I think about Trump or any political regime, I think to myself, like, if a guy like me, 80 IQ pleb, just farming, trying to not be stolen from, lied to, killed, or poor, or all the things can see this, so can the most powerful people in the world. And I think that, it's obvious that they wouldn't want to, talk publicly about their strategy. I guess one of the things I think about too is like Jason Lowry writes this book gets pulled, goes silent, and it's like, I think an individual like Trump or Larry Fink, like, they're winners, and they were playing in a game with rules that were not evenly, weren't fair to everybody playing in the game. The game has now changed. So it's not illogical to think that they're going to pivot their strategy.
Yep.
And there's this monumental forcing function what is it? We're at like 94, 95% of the supply. And over the next 10 years,
Something
we
like
get to
that.
99% of the supply. You know, I heard Saylor mention that. It's like we're in the midst of the greatest gold rush in human history. That is exciting.
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
I agree completely. And sometimes when you see those black and white photos of gold miners from the gold rush days, it's fascinating to compare that to what we're experiencing now.
Yeah.
When you think about discoveries of the availability of sound money, of something of value, and the work that you had to go and do, the energy you had to expend to go and get it. And to acquire gold, you know, you kind of had to be at the frontier and go and get it. And now to acquire Bitcoin, it still involves this work that has provable cost, proof of work. If you're going to mine it, you have to put these servers up, and there's no way around it if you want to go find new Bitcoin. Or if you want to acquire some for a market price, then you just have to pay what the holders require from you and trade your capital for it. But I think that, over time, the opportunity to buy Bitcoin with fiat is a limited time opportunity.
Yeah.
At some point, there will not be someone willing to take the other side of that trade. Just like you wouldn't trade someone your US dollar bills for monopoly money today, or for seashells or cowrie shells. I think Bitcoin's the apex predator of money, and it really is a winner take all game.
Yeah. Yes. When I first discovered Bitcoin, I kind of looked at it. I didn't think about it in these words exactly. I later heard Robert, maybe this was in the Saylor series, but say, money's a call option on any good or service that the marketplace can produce. So it effectively has infinite demand. And so if you compare infinite demand with true scarcity, you now have the apex monetary instrument of our human race.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.